When people think of danger, they often imagine distant war zones or crime-ridden parts of the world far from the United Kingdom. But the truth is, even here in the UK, there are cities where crime rates, violence, and antisocial behaviour create environments that many would rather avoid. These places are not just struggling with petty crime, they are dealing with high levels of violent offences, property crimes, drug-related activity, and in some cases, gang influence. The statistics tell a harsh story. Residents feel unsafe, and authorities often struggle to keep control. In 2025, crime patterns across the UK have shifted in some areas, with certain cities seeing improvements while others have spiralled further into decline. Poverty, lack of investment, unemployment, and weak policing strategies often combine to make a perfect storm. The following list highlights 10 cities, one from each UK country and region, where crime rates are alarmingly high and the stats are brutal. These are places where you need to stay alert, especially at night, and where even locals often take precautions to avoid certain neighbourhoods. The first two cities on this list, one from England and one from Scotland, have reputations that make headlines time and again. They are not just dangerous because of numbers on a chart. They are dangerous because of what those numbers mean for daily life. 1. Birmingham, England, the knife crime capital. Birmingham, England's second largest city, has been grappling with crime problems for years, and recent statistics show it continues to top the charts for violent offences. While London often gets the spotlight for crime, Birmingham has earned a reputation as the knife crime capital of England. Incidents of stabbings and assaults have been rising steadily, particularly among young people. Gang activity fuels much of this violence, with disputes over territory and drug trade leading to deadly outcomes. In 2025, reports indicate that knife-related offences in Birmingham remain at some of the highest levels in the country. Certain neighbourhoods, such as Handsworth, Lozells, and parts of Aston, are especially notorious. Residents report avoiding going out late at night, and police patrols are more frequent in these areas. Despite increased security measures, the problem persists due to deep-rooted social issues. Poverty, unemployment, and lack of opportunities for youth all contribute to the cycle of violence. Robbery and burglary rates are also concerning. Home invasions and car thefts have spiked in the past 2 years, leaving many residents feeling vulnerable. Even the city centre, usually considered safe during the day, can become risky at night. Tourists and newcomers are often advised to be cautious, particularly in less busy areas after dark. The brutal statistics reflect a city struggling to control its crime problem. The homicide rate per 100,000 residents is higher than the national average, and reports of violent assaults remain alarmingly frequent. Birmingham may be a city of culture, industry, and opportunity, but it is also a city where danger lurks, especially in its rougher districts. 2. Glasgow, Scotland. The violent crime leader. Moving north to Scotland, Glasgow continues to hold an infamous title, the most violent city in the country. Historically, Glasgow has had a reputation for gang warfare, knife crime, and assaults. And while there have been efforts to reduce these issues, the city still records some of the highest violent crime rates in the UK. Glasgow's East End, in particular, remains plagued by problems. Gangs still operate in certain areas, engaging in turf wars that often spill into the streets. Assaults, robberies, and knife-related crimes are reported frequently, with victims ranging from rival gang members to innocent bystanders caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Alcohol-related violence is another significant factor. Pubs and clubs can turn into danger zones during weekends, with fights and stabbings not uncommon in the early hours of the morning. The city also struggles with drug-related crime. Drug trafficking has been a persistent issue, with organised crime groups controlling supply routes. This not only fuels gang violence, but also contributes to a high rate of drug-related deaths. Residents in affected neighbourhoods often describe feeling trapped, with criminal activity happening openly around them. Despite increased police presence and community initiatives, Glasgow's crime rates remain stubbornly high. The city records violent assault rates that surpass most other areas in Scotland, and reports of knife attacks continue to shock the public. Even in well-developed areas, incidents of theft, vandalism, and intimidation remind people that danger is never far away. While Glasgow has its cultural attractions, vibrant nightlife, and strong community spirit, it also has an undercurrent of violence that statistics cannot hide. For those considering visiting or living here, being aware of the risk and knowing which areas to avoid is essential. The first two cities on this list, Birmingham and Glasgow, show how danger in the UK is not just a matter of perception. It's a matter of fact backed by harsh statistics. These cities face challenges that go beyond occasional incidents. They are dealing with systemic problems that make them hotspots for violence, theft, and antisocial behaviour. As we move into Act 2, the focus will shift to other parts of the UK, including cities in Wales, Northern Ireland, and additional regions of England. Each location has its own story to tell, with crime rates that paint a grim picture of life on their streets. The numbers are shocking, but the reality they represent is even more severe. Danger is not limited to England's industrial hubs or Scotland's inner cities. It stretches across the entire United Kingdom. Wales, Northern Ireland, and several other English regions have cities where violence, theft, and antisocial behaviour are alarmingly common. These cities might look picturesque on the surface, with historical landmarks and cultural attractions, but statistics reveal a darker truth: high crime rates and a constant struggle to keep the streets safe. In 2025, law enforcement continues to pour resources into these areas, but poverty, gang influence, and drug activity often outweigh policing efforts. Residents speak of a constant sense of caution, avoiding certain streets, locking doors early, and watching their surroundings closely. The next three cities, one from Wales, one from Northern Ireland, and one from Northern England, show how danger can lurk even in places not widely known for crime. 3. Cardiff, Wales, a city where violence and disorder collide. As the capital of Wales, Cardiff is vibrant and full of life. It's known for its sports culture, nightlife, and bustling student population. But behind the lively facade lies a city where violent crime and antisocial behaviour are alarmingly frequent. In 2025, Cardiff remains at the top of Wales crime charts, with figures that reveal the scale of the problem. The city has one of the highest rates of violent assaults per 100,000 residents in the country. Knife crime, while not as extreme as in Birmingham or Glasgow, has been steadily increasing, particularly in nightlife districts. Alcohol plays a significant role in many incidents. On weekends, police deal with countless cases of fights, stabbings, and robberies in and around Cardiff's pubs and clubs. The city centre becomes a hotspot for aggression after dark, with many residents avoiding it during peak nightlife hours. Drug-related crime is another pressing issue. Organised groups traffic narcotics into the city, leading to turf disputes and violent confrontations. Some neighbourhoods in Cardiff, particularly those with high unemployment rates, have become associated with street-level dealing and related violence. Property crimes also contribute to the city's danger. Burglary and car theft are common, and vandalism is widespread in certain districts. Even in areas considered relatively safe, opportunistic crime remains a concern. Cardiff's police force is stretched thin, responding to incidents ranging from serious assaults to antisocial behaviour that disrupts daily life. The statistics speak for themselves. High levels of violent crime, theft, and drug activity create an environment where caution is necessary. Cardiff may be a city of culture and history, but it is also one where danger is never far away. 4. Belfast, Northern Ireland. A legacy of violence that persists. Belfast, the capital of Northern Ireland, is a city shaped by its history of conflict. While the Troubles have ended, the legacy of violence still lingers, manifesting in high crime rates and occasional eruptions of unrest. In 2025, Belfast remains one of the most dangerous cities in the United Kingdom, with the statistics that reflect its ongoing struggles. Gang-related crime continues to plague parts of the city. Paramilitary groups, though less visible than in the past, still exert influence in certain neighbourhoods. Intimidation, extortion, and occasional armed incidents keep residents on edge. Police report difficulties in investigating crimes where fear of retaliation prevents witnesses from coming forward. Violent assaults, robberies, and stabbings are common, especially in areas affected by poverty. Alcohol and drug abuse further fuel street violence, with weekend nights often seeing spikes in assaults around bars and clubs. The city's nightlife, while popular, is frequently marred by fights and violent incidents. Belfast also struggles with high rates of burglary and property damage. Cars are frequently targeted for theft or vandalism, and businesses in certain districts report repeated break-ins. Social tensions occasionally flare up, leading to riots or violent protests, adding to the city's already high crime statistics. While parts of Belfast have seen regeneration and improved safety, the overall crime rates remain among the highest in the UK. The city is a place of contrasts, where culture, history, and danger coexist. For residents, daily life involves staying alert and knowing which areas to avoid after dark. 5. Manchester, England. Gangs, guns, and a crime. Manchester, often referred to as England's second city alongside Birmingham, has a long-standing reputation for crime. In 2025, it continues to be one of the most dangerous places in the country, with crime rates that rival even London. The city is a hub for gang activity, drug trafficking, and violent assaults, making it a hotspot for danger. The presence of organised gangs in Manchester is a major factor behind its high crime levels. These groups control parts of the drug trade and are involved in turf wars that frequently spill into the streets. Gun crime, while not as widespread as knife crime, is a serious concern in Manchester, with several shootings reported each year. This gives the city a level of danger that is felt even in otherwise busy neighbourhoods. Knife attacks and violent robberies are also disturbingly common. Certain districts, including Moss Side and parts of Cheetham Hill, have reputations for being particularly hazardous. Residents often report hearing gunshots at night or witnessing fights in the streets. The fear of gang retaliation keeps many crimes unreported, allowing criminal activity to continue unchecked. Manchester's nightlife, while a major draw for visitors, is another focal point for crime. Alcohol-fueled fights, muggings, and stabbings occur regularly, especially on weekends. Even areas with a high police presence can quickly become dangerous after dark. Property crimes, such as burglary and car theft, add to the city's dangerous reputation. Opportunistic thieves target parked vehicles, and home invasions are not uncommon in certain neighbourhoods. The combination of violent and property crimes makes Manchester one of the UK's most notorious cities when it comes to safety concerns. The statistics for Manchester are brutal. High rates of violent offences, robbery, and gang-related crime place it firmly on the list of the UK's most dangerous cities. While regeneration projects have improved some areas, others remain locked in cycles of poverty and violence that continue to fuel criminal activity. The addition of Cardiff, Belfast, and Manchester to this list underscores that danger is not isolated to any single region. From Wales to Northern Ireland to Northern England, these cities face challenges that go beyond occasional disturbances. They are dealing with entrenched crime problems that impact daily life. As we move into Act 3, the focus will shift to other parts of England, including cities where rising violence and social decay have created alarming crime statistics. We will also examine one city from the English coast where crime rates have shocked both residents and authorities. Each new city reveals another layer of the UK's crime landscape, showing how widespread and severe the problem can be. So far, we've looked at the dangerous realities in Birmingham, Glasgow, Cardiff, Belfast, and Manchester, cities with reputations cemented over decades. But England's crime crisis is not confined to these urban giants. Smaller cities and coastal towns have been making headlines for all the wrong reasons, with rising rates of violent assaults, property crimes, and drug-related offences that shock residents and authorities alike. In many of these areas, the statistics are brutal because they reveal trends that show no sign of improving. This act takes us deeper into England to examine 3 more cities where crime levels have reached alarming highs: Liverpool, Bradford, and Blackpool. Each of these places has its own struggles, gang wars, deprivation, and social decay that contribute to their notoriety. 6. Liverpool, England. Organised crime and rising violence. Liverpool, famous for its cultural heritage and vibrant waterfront, has another side that statistics often expose: a deep-rooted problem with organised crime and violence. Known historically as a hub for smuggling due to its port, Liverpool still battles with drug trafficking networks that operate both locally and internationally. In 2025, the city continues to rank among the most dangerous in the UK, with violent crime figures that paint a troubling picture. Gang activity drives much of the violence. Rival groups fight for control over drug territories, leading to shootings and knife attacks that often occur in residential neighbourhoods. Incidents of gunfire, while still rare compared to knife attacks, are disturbingly common here compared to other UK cities. Merseyside police frequently conduct raids to crack down on these networks, but the criminal underworld proves resilient. Street robberies, muggings, and assaults are widespread, particularly in nightlife districts like Concert Square and the Baltic Triangle. On weekend nights, alcohol-fueled fights spill out onto the streets, overwhelming police resources. Even in the city centre, opportunistic theft and pickpocketing keep both residents and visitors on edge. Liverpool also struggles with antisocial behaviour in some neighbourhoods, where vandalism, drug dealing, and intimidation are everyday occurrences. Communities living in deprived areas report feeling abandoned, as crime continues to affect their quality of life. The statistics back up these claims. Violent crime rates, including homicides, remain significantly above the national average. Despite its cultural and economic revival, Liverpool remains a city where crime continues to cast a long shadow. The combination of organised gangs, widespread drug activity, and frequent violence ensures its place on this list. 7. Bradford, England, a city with high crime and social struggles. Bradford, located in West Yorkshire, is another city where crime rates are shockingly high. Known for its diverse community and industrial history, Bradford has faced decades of economic decline, leading to unemployment and poverty in many areas. These social issues have created an environment where crime thrives, and the statistics in 2025 are brutal. Violent crime is a major problem. Assaults, stabbings, and armed robberies occur at rates far above the national average. Certain neighbourhoods, particularly those affected by deprivation, see gang activity that fuels turf wars and drug-related violence. Police often warn residents to remain vigilant in areas where gang presence is strong. Drug offences are particularly concerning. Bradford is a significant hub for drug trafficking in northern England, with authorities seizing large quantities of illegal substances each year. This trade fuels violence and adds to the city's dangerous reputation. Property crime is also rampant. Burglaries, car thefts, and vandalism are daily realities for many residents. Even middle-class areas are not immune, with thieves targeting homes and vehicles opportunistically. The fear of crime is so prevalent that many residents take extra security measures, from installing CCTV cameras to avoiding going out at night. Antisocial behaviour further erodes the sense of safety. Reports of street harassment, gang intimidation, and public disorder remain high. For many locals, living in Bradford means constantly being on guard. The city's efforts to regenerate have made progress in certain areas, but the underlying problems of poverty and crime remain far from solved. The statistics are damning. Violent crime rates are among the highest in England, and property offences continue to climb. Bradford is a city where danger feels embedded in the daily experience, making it one of the most perilous places to live in the UK. 8. Blackpool, England. Crime behind the seaside facade. Blackpool, with its iconic tower and beaches, is one of England's most famous seaside towns. But beyond the tourist attractions lies a city plagued by crime, drug abuse, and social decay. In 2025, Blackpool has one of the highest crime rates in the country, with statistics that reveal a crisis few outsiders expect. Drug-related offences dominate the crime landscape. Blackpool has become notorious for high levels of heroin and crack cocaine use, with many neighbourhoods struggling under the weight of addiction. Drug dealing is rampant, and related violence, including stabbings and assaults, is common. The local police have identified several gangs operating in the area, often controlling the trade and intimidating residents. Violent crime, including serious assaults, is also alarmingly high. Incidents often involve weapons, and the city records some of the highest rates of knife crime outside major urban centres. Alcohol-related violence is another persistent issue, especially in areas around pubs and clubs. Blackpool's nightlife attracts large crowds, but it also creates a breeding ground for fights, robberies, and muggings. Property crime is equally severe. Home burglaries, vehicle thefts, and vandalism are frequent occurrences, leaving residents feeling unsafe in their own neighbourhoods. The problem is compounded by high unemployment and poverty, which drive some individuals toward criminal activity. Even the tourist areas are not spared. Visitors often fall victim to pickpockets, scams, and occasional assaults, tarnishing the city's reputation as a holiday destination. Locals know which areas to avoid, particularly at night when crime tends to spike. Blackpool's crime statistics reveal a city in distress. Despite efforts to improve the area through redevelopment and policing, the combination of drug addiction, poverty, and violence keeps crime rates alarmingly high. For residents, living here means coping with the daily reality of danger that lurks behind the bright lights of the promenade. The inclusion of Liverpool, Bradford, and Blackpool shows how crime in England is not limited to its largest cities. These places demonstrate that organised crime, social decline, and drug abuse can turn even culturally significant or tourist-friendly locations into hotspots for danger. Their statistics are as brutal as their reputations, confirming that these are cities where caution is not just advisable, it is essential. With 9 cities now covered, the stage is set for the final act. Act 4 will reveal the last city on this list, a southern location where rising violence and crime statistics have shocked residents and drawn national attention. It will also summarise how these 10 dangerous cities collectively show the UK's ongoing battle with crime in 2025. Throughout this list, we have seen how crime stretches from the industrial heartlands of Birmingham and Manchester to the coastal chaos of Blackpool and the historical streets of Belfast. Yet the south of England is not immune to this trend. While many southern cities enjoy reputations for wealth and safety, there are places where violent crime, theft, and antisocial behaviour have escalated to levels that shock even the most seasoned police officers. For the final entry on this list, we turn to a city in southern England where statistics reveal a grim reality: Portsmouth. Once a proud naval stronghold, Portsmouth today struggles with issues that place it among the most dangerous places in the UK. After examining this city, we will step back to see how all 10 cities, from every corner of the UK, illustrate a nation grappling with a complex crime problem. 9. Portsmouth, England. Violence on the waterfront. Portsmouth, located on the south coast of England, combines a rich naval history with modern urban living. However, behind its waterfront and historic landmarks lies a city where crime rates have soared. In 2025, Portsmouth records some of the highest figures for violent crime and property offences in southern England, placing it firmly on this list. The city's problems are multi-layered. Violent crime, particularly assaults involving weapons, has increased sharply. Knife attacks, often linked to gang disputes and drug dealing, are a serious concern. Certain neighbourhoods have developed reputations as no-go areas at night, where residents take extra precautions just to feel safe. Police have stepped up patrols, but the statistics show the challenge is far from under control. Drug-related crime is another key factor. Portsmouth has become a target for county lines gangs, where criminal groups traffic drugs from larger cities into smaller towns. This activity has led to turf wars, violent confrontations, and a general sense of lawlessness in some areas. The influx of drugs also contributes to addiction problems, further driving property crime and antisocial behaviour. The nightlife, while a draw for young people and tourists, is frequently marred by alcohol-fueled fights, robberies, and harassment. Certain streets become hotspots for violence in the early hours of the morning, prompting warnings for people to travel in groups and avoid walking alone. Property crime statistics are equally worrying. Break-ins, car thefts, and vandalism are common, particularly in areas struggling with deprivation. Even residents in more stable neighbourhoods invest heavily in security systems, reflecting widespread fear of burglary. Despite redevelopment projects aimed at boosting the city's economy and image, crime continues to overshadow progress. The brutal statistics, high rates of assaults, stabbings, drug offences, and theft, make it clear why Portsmouth is considered one of the most dangerous cities in the UK. With Portsmouth added to the list, we now have a complete picture of the 10 most dangerous cities in the UK, one representing every region and country. The diversity of these locations, industrial giants, historic capitals, coastal towns, and smaller urban centres, proves that danger is not limited to one type of city. From Birmingham, where knife crime dominates headlines, to Glasgow, where violent assaults remain a daily threat, the northern cities reveal how poverty and gangs fuel violence. In Cardiff, alcohol-fueled brawls and property crimes keep police busy, while Belfast continues to grapple with the legacy of conflict and gang intimidation. Manchester shows how organised gangs and turf wars create an environment of fear, and Liverpool mirrors these struggles with its own wave of violence and drug trafficking. The inclusion of Bradford and Blackpool demonstrates how social decline, unemployment, and drug abuse can turn even smaller cities and seaside towns into crime hotspots. Finally, Portsmouth shows that the south of England is not immune to rising crime, with its own battles against gangs, drugs, and street violence. The statistics behind these cities are not just numbers. They represent real lives impacted by crime. They reveal higher than average rates of violent assaults and stabbings in nearly every city on this list. Persistent gang activity, particularly in Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, and Belfast, where organised crime drives much of the violence. Drug-related offences fueling violence in Blackpool, Portsmouth, and Cardiff, among others. Property crimes, including burglary and vehicle theft, that make residents feel unsafe even in their own homes. Alcohol-fueled disorder, particularly in nightlife-heavy areas like Cardiff, Glasgow, and Portsmouth, where weekend nights often turn chaotic. These patterns show how crime in the UK is interconnected with social issues: poverty, unemployment, addiction, and lack of opportunities. They also show that despite strong policing and community initiatives, some cities continue to struggle with deeply rooted problems. The 10 cities highlighted in this list are not without their strengths. Each has its cultural attractions, historical landmarks, and thriving communities. But they also have crime statistics that cannot be ignored. For residents, the danger is part of daily life. For visitors, it's a cautionary tale about knowing where to go and when. These cities are reminders that crime is not just an urban problem. It is a national issue that affects every corner of the United Kingdom. Whether it's knife attacks in Birmingham, gang conflicts in Belfast, or drug-fueled violence in Portsmouth, the challenges are serious and ongoing. In 2025, these 10 dangerous cities stand as stark examples of what happens when social problems are left unresolved. They serve as warnings not only to those who live in or visit them, but also to policymakers tasked with improving public safety. Until the root causes are addressed, the statistics will remain brutal and the reputation of these cities will remain haunted by danger. The UK is full of contrasts. Safe towns and crime-ridden neighbourhoods often exist side by side. For those who live in these dangerous cities, caution is a way of life. For the rest of the country, these statistics serve as a chilling reminder. Danger can appear anywhere, and sometimes the most alarming threats are the ones closest to home.